Recording on Zoom, recording on Facebook. Here we are. Episode 71 of the Georgie and Patty Show. I know. I'm Georgie.
And I'm Patty.
And welcome to your weekly review. I feel like I need a news reporter voice today.
Oh, you totally need a news reporter voice today. Since you are on location.
Coming to you live on location from Princeton, British Columbia.
Where there is no comet.
There is no comet, a scattering of clouds, and some blue sky. All right.
We have a slide deck.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. So you're going to blast us off?
I'll blast us off. That's right. So, what is our quote of the day? Be like water. Adapt to your environment. So I thought this was just kind of a good reminder, because often in our entrepreneurial journey, it makes us it's a lot easier the more flexible and adaptable we can be. So I was like, oh yeah, water. When water is flowing, you know, if it's going downhill, it's going downhill. It's going around the rocks, you know, moving over the obstacles, all of those kinds of things. So I was like, we can practice being a little more like water and flexible and adaptable, ready for change, you know. In this journey of building our business, it can make it a little bit easier. That was kind of one learning that I had this week that I thought I would share in the quote of the day. Anyway, and you have permission to be multi-dimensional. Pretty much everything you're getting from me today is from this coaching group that I belong to. And one of the things they were talking about was being multi-dimensional as an entrepreneur or even in your life. But what this really means is that, you know, adding new skills and new tools is totally okay as you are building and growing your business, you know, because the more we're able to master the things that we're doing, add things that are relevant to what we're doing, I think it gives us a better ability to be able to shift when we need to shift and also be more adaptable to change. Because one thing we know for sure, nothing is going to stay the same. Things are going to change. And I think we've seen a lot of it. You're going to get some changes today, by the way. But, you know, it also shifts how we look at things. Like even if I think about, I came up here because I wanted it to be dark because I wanted to see this comet, which guys did not agree, and that's okay. You know, and so, but how else can I still make this a great trip of being here? What else is, you know, it's still beautiful, all of those kinds of things. So being able to kind of have a multi-dimensional self allows you to just be more adaptable and be ready for new things. And I think be able to navigate the change better in a way that's a little bit easier instead of getting overwhelmed and stressed out and like, or keeping you stuck because you don't want to change. You're fighting the change so much that you stay stuck, and that doesn't help you either. So that's the permission slip for you today. So today I'm going to share something. It's the journey of a goal, which was Jesse Itzler shared this on our coaching call the other day, and I thought it was really good. He has kind of 9 steps that a goal goes through from kind of beginning till victory. So there's Mr. Jesse. So I'm going to go through each one of these steps. I had so much stuff I wanted to share, but this is what I was stripping away information to not overwhelm you. So the first thing that happens is we get an idea. So if we think about it, it's like, oh, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start a coaching business. I'm going to start a bakery. I'm going to sign up for a 10K run. I'm going to go on a trek. It all starts with an idea. And with this idea, we start to get excited. And with the excitement, it moves into the next thing, which is research. We start to research our idea. So if we think about, I want to start a business. What kind of business do I want to start? I want to start a coaching business. Well, what do I need to start a coaching business? How do I do this coaching business? What's required? I'm going to sign up for a race. When's the registration? Where's the location? How much is it going to cost? What do I need to do to register? So we start to kind of dig in and do a little bit of research to see if we think this goal is viable for us. The next step that we go through is to make the commitment. Okay, I'm going to do this. I've signed up for the race. I've told people I'm starting a business. I'm getting my stuff in order, but I've actually made a commitment that I'm going to do this thing, whatever it is. Then what we do, or the next phase of this journey, is we start to make a plan. Okay, I'm all in. I'm going to do a business. Now, what do I need to do? What are the actual steps I need to take? Sometimes, typically, we'll go, oh, I need a business name. I better register my name. We start getting busy with things. I need to get clients. There's going to be some marketing. I need to figure out what I'm selling. How am I going to let people know I exist? How am I going to take payment? Where am I going to operate from? What kind of tools or supplies do I need? If we're thinking about kind of running a race, how much training do I need? How much time do I have? What's the nutrition I'm going to need? That I start to actually create a plan. And often we get excited in this phase too, because we're making lists, we're writing stuff down. It's looking really, really great. And then we hit step 5. And step 5, this is the grind. This is where the work sets in. This is where we kind of start to realize that, that bright, shiny idea I had in the beginning actually requires some work. There are things that I do not know. There are things I'm realizing I'm kind of sucky at, and I'm going to have to get better at. This is where we realize to bring in money, I have to talk to people. That's interesting. You know, this is where, when we're running a race, this is where we're actually training. This is where we're out in the cold. We're eating the stuff we might not want to eat. We're up at, all hours to make sure we get in the amount of time, which is very much like our businesses when we're starting to build them. I think often we think that, I'm going to start an online business, which means I just work like 2 hours a day and then money flows in and I don't have to put in that much time or that much effort. And, I'm here, this is for the freedom. I started this business for freedom. What do you mean? But when we're building this, it is a grind. And this is where you'll start to see people get weeded out. This is the starting process of where people decide that this thing, I'm not doing it. I'm not willing to put in what it takes to make this thing happen. So as we're in the grind, then here comes that self-doubt. Here's where we start questioning ourselves, where we're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm good enough. What was I thinking? When I tell people, they tell me I'm crazy. And so we really start to create that self-doubt for ourselves. And this is this next place where most people quit. This is the #1 killer of your success, is going to be your self-doubt. Because if it wins, you're out, you're over. But if you stay in, if you keep going, then what happens is you get that tiny little win. Maybe it's your very first customer, that first person that gives you $20, and says, yeah, I'll try this. That first assessment call, that first great feedback for what you're doing. It's just one tiny win, and we start to get some momentum. All of a sudden, we start thinking, maybe it's possible. Because if you got 1 customer, you can get 2 customers. If you got 2 customers, you can get 3 customers, as long as you stay in. So then what happens, we're getting our wins, we're getting some momentum, and then when we start to see that light at the tunnel, we're finally like, okay, I can actually do this. This is going to happen. I actually have, 5 or 6 customers. I actually paid my cell phone bill this month from my business money. Like, this is amazing, and we start, then suddenly more bills get paid. And we start to realize that this is actually a real thing. We can do it. And then that leads us to victory. I've done it, which is step 9. I've got this. My business is running. I know how to do the things that I need to do to keep it going. and then we've achieved this goal. And as they were sharing this and I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, pretty much every goal goes through that kind of a journey, no matter what it is. Like I say, whether it's a health goal, a fitness goal, a business goal, and you can pretty much take, even when you think about, oh, I'm going to add a new service to my business. Great idea, I love it. And I'm going to check it out. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to make a plan. And often it's when the grind comes in that's going to make or break us. I start to grind. Am I willing to put it in? The self-doubt hits, always. And then can I keep going through that to get the small win, build on that momentum until I have victory or change or whatever needs to happen. But I was like, oh, I just love this little journey of what the kind of a goal can look like. And I think it's so true where we see the breakdown. And it's knowing that this is where most people break down. And can I have enough belief in myself, no matter what anybody says, but am I really willing to take ownership and responsibility for building this business or achieving this goal, that I will kind of move that self-doubt kind of out of my way. But I think it really comes down to, am I willing to do what it takes to make it happen? And sometimes that means changing and pivoting and doing things a little bit differently because you're actually getting data, because you're doing the work and you're recognizing either this isn't a viable thing and I'm going to need to make maybe major changes to it, or maybe there's small tweaks that need to happen, or it's not going to be done in the way I thought it was going to be done, but you can still achieve it. So I thought this was really, really cool, really cool. And then the next slide I have is another quote by Jessie, is to don't give in to what's brainwashing you. And that is often the self-doubt. That's the, I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. Someone else said I shouldn't do this or I couldn't do this. I've never done this before. I don't know how to do it. What was I thinking? There's somebody smarter. Someone's already done it. All of those things where we start to just really, we're brainwashing ourselves and we're taking ourselves out of the game. So it's just don't do that. Just stop. And then I have another slide, I believe. Yeah. So when we want new results, these were some other things that they kind of came into this, is to be optimistic. Because when we are optimistic, it actually helps us when someone says we can't do something. When we are so optimistic and centered within ourselves, it helps us to keep moving forward when other people, and often it's the people who have never done what we're even trying to do. They're the people telling us you can't do it. And there's zero experience in there. So be optimistic, and then also be realistic. Be able to recognize, here's what I need to do. Here's some skills I'm going to need to get that I don't have. Here's where I'm weak. Here's where I'm strong. So it's not just having this, I'm going to visualize it, it's going to happen, and I'm just, it's all positive thinking. There's a real part of this that's very, very realistic. Bring some reality into it. Look at the numbers, see what's happening. So as you're approaching these things that you're looking for, it's optimism and this piece of being realistic. And then the other part is you have to just start. Don't stay stuck in that planning phase. You actually have to start moving. You have to do something, but start the process. So if you're looking at your goal or your objective and the thing that you want to do, and you find that you're overwhelmed because there's just so many pieces of this, it seems like there's so much to do, break that thing down to tiny little bits and just start. Just start doing something and moving. And then with that, that's where we're going to be starting to take action, because it's with action that the change is going to happen. When you start taking action, you're going to start eliminating some of that self-doubt. Through action, you're going to get more confident, right? The action is going to start to produce some kind of result, some kind of win, some kind of momentum. So you really have to just do something, just get moving. Do I have another slide? always so fun. Oh, now it's you. So that's kind of what I learned this week. Like, so there was I love this, this group that I'm in. It's really, really inspiring and motivating and practical. I really love the practical information that's coming from people with experience. Because I'm like, I love just the simplicity of being able to break this down and recognizing, where am I stuck? And where am I not willing to grind? Where am I allowing my self-doubt to take over? Where am I worried about, oh, I don't know if I want to make change because what will people say? Like, really? I have the information, so I can make those decisions. And I love, of course, optimistic and realistic. Two pieces, you need both. So it's been a good week. So many learnings.
Oh, just have to unmute myself. I have comments to add to what you shared.
Awesome.
But just give me a moment.
Yeah, I'll read the some of the comments while she is going to do something. Oh, cool. People are telling me things I can go see. That is awesome. Your husband saw the comet. What? I have to go find the comet. 1 a.m.
Comet envy.
I have comet envy. Exactly. Maybe I'll have to drive up to Squamish around midnight to see what I can see.
You went in the wrong direction.
I'm in the wrong direction. Maybe I didn't stay up late enough, but I couldn't even see stars. So I'm guessing that I might have had a luck. But maybe tonight. Who knows? We'll see.
So one of the things I noticed when you're going through like the steps to victory, right? Like it seems linear, right? But it's like that is an endless freaking loop.
Endless freaking loop. Exactly.
Around and around and around we go.
Exactly. It's so very true. So true.
And I think the key with this is to be really careful about, are you circling around because you have new data and new information, or because you're just stuck in self-doubt and you're not taking action? So you go back to the drawing board to see if you can come up with an idea that's less scary.
Exactly.
Or do some research to find a way to do it without having to do that hard part you're avoiding.
Exactly. Am I just really wanting to skip the grind and just give in to my self-doubt? Because it really feels like we're doing something when we go back to, oh, maybe I should do it this way. Oh, let me do a new plan. Oh, let me research. And
let me take another course.
Exactly. And I think this is where the data is so important, and really being discerning and asking yourself, why am I making this decision? Why am I deciding that I need to come up with a new idea? Why am I deciding I need a new plan? What is that decision based on?
Yeah.
Is it just my own emotional insecurity, or do I actually have the facts? And if someone were to say to me, like, imagine that you're in some big corporation and the CEO is like, hey, Georgie, why are we going to scrap this whole project and go back to the drawing board? I need to know what's behind this decision. Do you have the facts and the data that are telling you that information? It's so important.
You know, the other observation in this is when you think about your clients and how you help them, where are they on that journey?
Mm-hmm.
And are you taking them through that journey, or are you focused on a specific step on that journey? Something else to consider, because as I'm reading through this, I'm like, I think we can kind of map some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in a moment back to that.
Awesome.
So if I forget to close that loop, Georgie,
I'll remind you.
Remind me. So speaking of learning and growing and all of that stuff, welcome to what was my week. And here I am sharing all of the internal workings of my brain and uh, giving you a behind the scenes look at what's happening here. So the workshop, I know some people were asking, oh, we want to hear about how the workshop was. One of the things that I've been aware of this for a long time, and I'm just going to bring it back here, is that when we teach something, we get additional clarity on the stuff that we teach. And one of the things that I brought up in the workshop is a big piece of the workshop, actually, is this idea of the iceberg of problems, which is not how I talked about it in the workshop. This is how I'm talking about it this morning, because I've been thinking about it for the last few days. And what this is an idea I originally heard from those thought leader guys in Australia about different levels of problem. And I'm pretty sure you've heard me talk about this before. And I'm going to talk about it again, because this is going to be one of those broken record things that I repeat over and over and over again, because this is so important, is as service providers, as marketers, we help our clients with their problems. If they're trying to get somewhere, if they're trying to get that victory that Georgee just talked about, if they're trying to get somewhere, they're going to have obstacles and problems along the way. They're not there yet. That's what the problem is. And as marketers, that's what we talk about. We need to talk about where they want to go, what their problems are. We need to focus there. Okay, and which is understandable, because we start off talking about, okay, problems, and we take this at a really surface level. Even I was taking it at a surface level. And what I loved about the thought leaders guys is they pulled this apart into 3 levels of problem. Level 1 being what they call known and spoken problems, what I've been calling symptoms, and we could call these the tip of the iceberg. This is the stuff that people will easily share. They'll complain about it in public, like they'll chat around the water cooler about this particular level of problem. Then you have the known problems, unspoken, and these are their thoughts and feelings around those. These are not things that they're necessarily going to share with everyone. This is what Tad Hargrave would say is 3 beers in when you're talking at the pub. This is deep down. This is the thoughts and feelings that come up based on the symptoms. And you'll notice that these 2 things, known, are above the surface when we talk about the iceberg of problems. The 3rd level of problem is the unknown problem. Now, it is unknown to your future client. However, it is known to you. So this level is insights, right? This is what we know that they don't, okay? So these are things like the root cause of what's happening, otherwise known as the real problem. Oh yeah, they're complaining about that, but the real problem is this, okay? Faulty intel. They're working on information that's not correct. Like, they don't know what they don't know, and that's what's causing the problem, right? It's another one of the root causes, but that's insight that we have that they don't have, right? And of course, there's the solutions. How do we fix the problem? What are the steps they need to take? What is it that they need to do in order to get past that problem? Now, like, to give you an example, okay, I'll just give you a quick example here. Like, let's say you're a relationship coach. The known spoken problem, my partner's being an asshole. That is a known spoken problem. It's a symptom. It might not be how you want to phrase it, but that's what they're complaining to their colleague about on the weekend. How was your weekend? Oh, it sucked. My partner is being such an ass again, right? That kind of a thing. The known problem, unspoken thoughts and feelings might be, something like, wow, I'm really afraid that this relationship isn't going to last. I'm afraid that we might end up divorced over this. I'm not sure I could ever overcome this. It's like, I'm going to be lonely. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens underneath that the person is aware of, but doesn't necessarily say out loud. Then you have the unknown stuff and the insights. And this is when the relationship coach is the fly on the wall and looks in and goes, oh, well, there's some contempt going on in the communication. There's, they don't know about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in terms of relationship. they don't know each other's love languages. You know, and they're like, oh, they need to do this and do this and do this. This is the unknown part of the problem. They can just look, and as experts, this is what we do all the time. We look and we go, oh, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. Here's how you fix it, here's how you fix it, here's how you fix it. This is what's going on. This is the value that we add to the client relationship, right? And this is our biggest marketing problem, is because this is where we go to when we do the marketing. We want to talk about our stuff, and it's unknown to the client. And that's a problem, because you start talking about, you know, contempt or the 4 horsemen of the relationship apocalypse or something like that, and they're like, right over the head, right? 747. That's one of the problems that that comes up with the marketing, and that too is, you know, one of the reasons why this assessment, bridge assessment methodology that we use is valuable, is that it allows you to create that bridge and uncover those insights, basically lower the water level on that iceberg. And when clients get, your potential client gets value out of that assessment, it's because of that. That's the clarity they're getting. They're going, holy crap, I had no idea that this was going on. You've done your assessment really well when it's like that, right? So this was one of the deeper dive into this problem, the problem of the problems, right, that I've been thinking about. And so to take this as an example to the clients that Georgee and I work with, the known spoken problem is that not getting enough clients, marketing that isn't working, putting a lot of time, effort, and money into stuff and not getting anything back, right? That's the surface level stuff. I'm not making enough money, I'm not getting enough clients, something isn't working and it's costing me, right? Surface level stuff. We'll bitch about that in a Facebook group, right? It's like, not getting enough clients? Oh, me neither. You know, the unspoken thing is like, wow, maybe I'm really not cut out for this. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm gonna have to go and get a real job. There's some fears around this. Maybe I'm gonna lose face in front of my friends and family because I was so confident about what I was gonna do. It's like they're stuck in the self-doubt confidence thing that Georgee talked about earlier. The grind doesn't feel so good, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And of course, there's a whole bunch of stuff underneath this iceberg that they don't know, right? One of them being, they don't know about the iceberg of problems. They don't know that they need to talk about this stuff in order to have effective marketing. And there's a whole lot more hidden underneath this iceberg. And I'm going to leave that as a little bit of a cliffhanger because I'm talking about that on Wednesday. We're going to take a deeper dive on this, because as I started going down the rabbit hole of what this looks like and turning it to what we do, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of stuff under that water. And I can expand on it, but if I did that, I would be yapping for an hour, so I'll save it for next week. So that was insight number 1. Insight number 2, getting into this kind of personal experience thing of what we are have happening in what we're doing, is this idea of leading by example. Yeah, in the software world, they call this eating your own dog food. It's when you actually use the software that you're developing. So for us, it's a lot of looking at, occasionally when we stop and take a breath to turn our consulting eyes on our own business, a little bit like taking that third-party angle that Georgee talked about in the last episode, and taking that fly-on-the-wall look at what we're doing, getting a little bit of perspective and say, okay, what's happening here? What's going on? And asking this beautiful question, what would we advise a client to do? Because often, like our clients, we get locked into our own patterns and our own loops, and we don't necessarily see what's underneath that iceberg. So we've done a little bit of this. We've done a lot of this in the last week or so. And what happens for us is we end up with this echo effect. It's like, we're talking to a client, giving advice, we're talking on this show, we're giving advice, we're sharing stuff, and it kind of echoes back to us. And it's you know, I'll say something and then I'm like, oh, Patty, that's really good advice. You ought to take it. So this happens, right? Like this is the reality. And so we've been asking some of those clarifying questions that we talked about in the buying guide episode, in the the questions about getting crystal freaking clear about some of these things, like who do we work with, who do we do our best work with, who is this for, how do we draw that out without any wishy-washiness. Who is this not for? This is often the clarifying thing. And I have a little point on here that's going to remind me to tell you this. This is very much a level 2 inquiry. If you're in level 1, this is nice stuff to think about, but do not get locked into your imagination doing this. Go out and gather data. But when you have the data, then you can spread it out in front of you. And you can look like, our kind of a guidepost for this is 10 paying clients. If you have at least 10 paying clients, you have enough data to start parsing through it. So this is what Georgie and I are doing. It's like, if you can imagine, we've got a big desk and we're laying out 10 or 15 client folders with all of the notes. It's like, okay, here are the people that we've worked with. What's going on? What are the patterns? What are the threads? What's the commonality here? If we were to put them in piles, A, B, and C, A, we want a whole bunch more of those. B, maybe not so good. C, how do we weed them out earlier, right? Like, this is what happens. This is a reality. You have good data when you have that bell curve happening. You got some brilliantly great matches. You've got some, why did we ever agree to that? And then you got a bunch of stuff in the middle, right? So you're going through that, and then you're asking the questions. Who's this for? Who is it not for? What are the traits that are great? What are the traits that are iffy? How do we match our services to the people that we want to work with? How do we match our marketing language to the people that we're wanting to work with? And along with the work, what do we do? What do we do best? What do we do better than anybody else in the world? What do we want to continue to do? And what's some of the stuff we've been doing that we don't want to do anymore? It's like, yeah, this stuff is great. This stuff not so good. And we're getting to the point, we've been in this loop for 18 months now. Okay, this is not, when we talk about this grind, this is part of what that grind loop looks like. We've been doing this work over and over and over again for quite some time, and we're getting really this week we're just kind of hacking at it with a machete, right? Like, it's just like, no, just pulling out these little bits and pieces. So another reminder here, primarily a level 2 inquiry. This is the Friday review, so we talked to you about what's going on for us. So we're sharing that with you as kind of a preview of what might be to come if you're level 1, and something for you to consider if you are at level 2, is that every once in a while it makes sense to sit with this and to think about what you're doing and how you're doing it. So there will be more announcements coming up soon about this. The other blinding insight that we had yesterday via text exchange is this idea of the lower price strategy, which is an excellent strategy, by the way. It's easier to raise prices than it is to lower them, and we often advise people to start with the lower end of the price scale. So offering things at a lower price makes it easier to say yes to. If you're listening to advice that says it's easier to sell expensive stuff than to sell it for less money, that has not been true in our experience. It's easier for people to say yes to things when the price is lower. And this is ideal when you're offering like a pilot version of a course or a beta offer for a program, when you're in that level 1 experimental stage. Going in at a lower price makes it easier for you to get some sales so you can start getting that data. And it is a part of the experimentation. You want enough data to work with. So you very intentionally go in with a lower price and go in with this attitude of experimentation, and you're straight up with clients. It's like, this is a new offer. I'm offering it at a lower price because we're testing it, because it's not fully functional yet, because we're not sure. In exchange for you bearing with us for the dust of the construction and giving us some feedback and all of that, the price is lower. Okay, absolutely great for level 1. Okay, so don't let what I'm about to say dissuade you from that. If you happen to be in level 1, it's still absolutely a great strategy. Now, one of the numbers of times we have heard this, because we do so much work at this level 1 to level 2 range, and because so many people have invested in level 3 programs, we often get this back at us, which is, I wish I'd met you first. Like, that is, it's simply the reality. Yeah, buy into level 3, spend a lot of money, it doesn't work, meet us, we unveil the iceberg to let you know what it is that you need to work on and help you with that. And a lot of time the feedback is, yeah, I wish I met you first, because then it would have made more sense. The level 3 thing would work or would not be necessary or something like that. So there's often this little bit of feedback of, I wish I'd met you first. And often, because some of those level 3 programs are really, really, really freaking expensive, it often also comes with, and I've blown all my money on that thing. I invested $30,000 US in that thing. And I wish I met you first. And if we go in with a higher price, they'd be like, I'd love to invest with you, but I don't have any money left. So part of, they will buy when we go in with a beta price or something like that, which is fine. We gather some of this intel. Sometimes that works out really, really well. And other times we run into the sunk cost situation. And sunk costs is our natural inclination to attach an enormous amount of value to something that we've already purchased. This is I can't remember what they call them. It's like a psychological fallacy thing. There's a long list of them, and sunk cost is one of them. And it just basically says that if you've invested time, money, or effort into something, it holds more value, and it's really, really, really hard to let go. So what we've encountered in a couple of situations is that because people have invested a huge amount of money in something else, they don't necessarily take our advice, which is frustrating. So they end up following the old advice, or they continue to work on a program that's not working because they paid more money for it. So regardless of the fact that they thought they wanted us to meet us first, and they realize that what they're doing isn't working, because they have invested way more money in something else, they won't let it go. And like, that was just like a da-da that happened for us over this week. As we were doing this, let's take a look at who we've been working with and what this looks like. And this is definitely a frustration. Yes, they need us. Yes, our advice is timely for them. And because of this differential in the investment and the sunk cost kind of thing happening, they're having a hard time letting go of something else. So that's something that is also informing some of the changes coming up in terms of the people that we work with. So that brings us to changes. Just want to let the changes out before we do comments and stuff like that. So do you like the bat? I like bats. I think bats are cute. So big change number 1 is next week, same bat time, same bat channel, one bat day. We were going to be broadcasting Wednesdays only, and there will be a new bat name. We will announce it on Wednesday, or maybe in the weekly newsletter. But that's one of the changes that we have coming up, and the others will be announced in good time. Also want to talk about next Wednesday, because this is going to be the theme of it, is the hidden problems in your marketing, kind of like unlocking the secret reasons why what you're doing isn't working. How's that for some clever copywriting language? I'll have some plain language to describe this coming up, but this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be lowering the water level on the iceberg next week on Wednesday. And August 8th, we have a full day, get it done, butt in chair, do the work, content calendar and social media posting plan. One of the clear lines that we have drawn for ourselves and what we're doing is that when we do workshops, the workshops are about working and about getting stuff done. Last weekend's workshop was great for that. It was just, we had feedback is like, wow, you did what you said you would, I got it done. And so this is what we're doing on August 8th. It's not a lot of yap information. We've got tons of that. This is about actually doing it. So the intention here is to eliminate this issue of what do I post by creating a detailed plan of what you're posting on social media, what you're sharing for blogs, videos, whatever it is that you're doing. This idea of banishing this writer's block thing, we get stuck with the writer's block, and what gets you past that, this is from me, from my experience, is having a good title, because a good title gives you a lot of good direction. It can get you excited about writing it, and having a template to follow. So there'll be, we're going to do titles and templates. So this is about getting it done, creating the plan, having it all laid out, having a calendar, having having a list of 52 titles that you're excited about writing, and it's going to be really kind of a masterclass on headlines and titles and that part of the copywriting, and there will be feedback involved in that. So it's getting it done and getting advice to make it better, and that kind of summarizes where Georgie and I are going with our offers and our work with clients going forward. It's all about getting it done and getting it better. It's about helping people through that frickin' grind. It's like, that's what it's about. It's like, let's get it done. Let's make it better. Let's keep on going. So that's what's coming up. If you happen to be watching this, hello, future people. You happen to be watching this on a recording, uShapeBusiness.com. You can get free stuff there. And with that, I will stop the share, and we can talk about stuff.
Talking. Checking our Facebook. I like this. Fantastic. Woo! That's great. Okay. Let's see what we have in the chat. It's hot in Atlanta. Hot Atlanta. Let's see. Love the journey of the goal description so much. Lots of great insights. The iceberg. We like that. We like that. Awesome. And if you guys want to share your learnings, wins, things for the week in the chat, that is always amazingly awesome, because we'd like to know, you know, what you learned this week. And I think by doing that as well, it helps you to, you know, just be more aware of looking for things that you're learning and growing, I know that's definitely been useful since we've been doing this with the weekly shares. Now they might have to go to Facebook or something, I guess.
We'll figure something out.
Something will happen.
Oh, I forgot to share my James Clear quote, which was so right on for what we're talking about. And it was say, let's see if I can remember it. It was something along the lines of the biggest problem with reversible decisions is not making them fast enough, and the biggest problem with irreversible decisions is making them too fast.
Yes.
And my tag on to that is, it's quite often we miscategorize reversible decisions as irreversible, and this is why people get stuck.
Yeah.
They want to spend a ton of time and effort trying to decide things that are easily undecided or changed. Things like company names, things like program names, things like what you're offering, things like who you're selling it to. Those are all reversible, changeable decisions. They're not locked into stone. And a lot of people act as though they are. And, been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and spend way too much time trying to get it exactly right. Instead of just say, hey, I can change my mind later. Onwards and upwards.
Exactly. So true. So true.
Like even this decision to go once a week, we can reverse that decision and say, oh, wow, we missed going 3 times a week. We want to go daily again.
Yep.
Reversible decision. Easy peasy.
Exactly. So true. So true. I think you closed all the loops you wanted to close as well. I'm just reminding you. if there was a loop that you left open.
I had a few callbacks to it, yes.
Yeah, but I think you got it. I'm like, just in case.
It was the bit about how we're really helping people through the grind.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I think that grind piece, that's where the intentional practice comes in.
Exactly.
And I think that's really what we're doing with people is intentional practice. Do the stuff, get feedback. Do the stuff, get feedback, right? The grind isn't the grind. If you go for an easy walk every day, you're not going to climb that mountain, right?
No.
You have to challenge yourself a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. You have to get better. You have to get better and stronger and faster and all that stuff. And it's like, that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
With people. It's like, okay, let's keep you in the grind. Let's not have you go looping back into research when it's not necessary, and helping people make that determination, right?
So true. And
that was what I was seeing.
Well, and when you have support in that, someone that's actually helping you through the grind, that knows the grind that you're in, your self-doubt gets lowered because you have someone that's actually believing in you as well. And then I think through doing that work, then like say those little wins start happening, you start to get some momentum, things start moving. But it's in, yeah, like you said, it's in that grind and self-doubt phase where people start getting weeded out. That's where we quit.
Yeah.
And so I think you're exactly right. That's exactly where, that's our little sweet spot.
Yeah. And it's like, and not everybody is ready to do the grind, and that's part of it. A lot of people are really happy, are very, very happy in the loop before the grind.
Yes.
Like they're not ready. They haven't made that commitment that they really, really are going to go for it. That's the reality. It's like not all that many people make it through to the grind part, and those are our people. And
exactly.
It's kind of a special group of people who are willing to put in the work.
So true. I had the doubt creeping in, and then I had a small win with getting my art biz assessment invitation completed. So much more clarity, and I got one foot out of the mud. Yes, exactly. And
there's so many little wins to celebrate.
So
many if you look for them.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's looking for them and actually acknowledging them and celebrating them.
It's part of what helps you get through that grind.
It's so true. It's so true. It's funny, I have one friend, and he's like my celebration buddy, and we're always like, something will happen, and we're like, celebration dinner, oh my gosh, we both have something to celebrate, celebration dinner. But it's often not huge gigantic things, but they're moments worth celebrating. So it's fun, really fun. All right, well, looks like comments are quiet, loops are closed.
Comments are quiet, loops are closed, and we wrap up the final episode.
Yes.
Of the Georgee and Patty Show.
Yes, that's right, because the new name coming next week.
New name's coming next week. So we can have celebration cake.
Yes, twice. We have some more learnings. I'm going to read these before we go off. Lots of learning this week for me too. A few things to share. 1, tools to increase authenticity of my presentations and tools to share with my clients. They can also increase authenticity, internal reality. Awesome. tools to increase believability of my presentation, and tools to share with my clients so they can also increase believability, external reality. Awesome. Lots of little wins this week. Great bridge assessment method with meeting book in September to figure out how to work together. Great connection call leading to another amp up session. So awesome. So many little wins, little wins, little wins, which as you can see starts to create momentum. So good. So good. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. Great work grinding.
Exactly. Exactly. Good job. Good job. Love it. Love it.
Alrighty. I'd say that's a wrap. See you on Wednesday.
That's
Same
right.
time.
Same bad channel.
Bad channel. Bye now.
Bye.